Hi, financial advisors. I'm Claire Akin with Indigo Marketing Agency, and thank you so much for joining me for social media marketing for financial advisors. I'm so excited to have our special guest here, Amy McElwain from Hootsuite, and she is the leading expert on social media marketing for financial advisors, and she's going to share with us tons of tips and tricks to get more engagement on your social media accounts. To get started, I'll give you a little bit about my background. My firm, Indigo Marketing Agency, does custom marketing for independent financial advisors. I know a lot of you are busy and you don't have the time, and maybe you don't have the expertise to do social media marketing. So we do everything from content creation to email marketing to setting up and posting to your social media accounts, as well as some advanced techniques like paid ads and LinkedIn campaigns. Here's an example of some of the content that we post for advisors. And so we write everything from scratch. We have a team of writers that writes with your background, your philosophy, and your voice in mind. And so we first post it as a blog post on your website. And then the next step is we actually share it by email to everyone in your network. So all of your prospects, clients, friends, family, anybody who could potentially refer you business, so you stay top of mind with them and they understand exactly what you do and how you can help. And then finally, the next step is that we go ahead and we share it on social media. And so social media has become so powerful for financial advisors that now we're seeing more traction on social media than we are in other forms of digital marketing like email marketing. And so we actually use Hootsuite's tools to share on a daily basis for our advisors on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. And so I'm so excited to partner with Hootsuite and with Amy to teach you all of the secrets, because they really are the best at the best at what they do, which is help financial advisors to really embrace social media marketing. And so without further ado, I'll introduce our speaker. Now, I became aware of Amy years ago when I was with a company called FMG Suite, and I was attending all of the broker-dealer conferences around the country, and I would see Amy speak, and she's an amazing keynote speaker. She is the author of a book called The Social Advisor, Social Media Secrets of the Financial Industry, which is a bestseller on Amazon, and it's an amazing resource. I highly recommend you pick up a copy today. She's also appeared on Fox, CBS, ABC, NBC, and you've probably seen her at maybe your broker-dealer conference as a keynote speaker, speaking on social media. She started the company Financial Social Media, which many of you advisors have probably used in the past, and now she is the go-to expert at Hootsuite for secrets of the financial planning industry as far as social media. And so she's going to walk us through everything that you need to know today to take advantage of social media. Amy, I'll turn it over to you.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for the great introduction, Claire. So for those of you that aren't familiar with Hootsuite, Hootsuite is a social media management platform. So we're the technology that you can utilize to schedule your posts in advance, to see the analytics on what's working, what's not working, and post to multiple networks all at the same time from a centralized dashboard. And as Claire mentioned, she uses this to manage all of her accounts. Several advisors use Hootsuite as well, and we've got a great tool for a lot of large broker dealers, insurance companies. It's a compliant social media management platform that companies can use for their social media presence. So let's get started. We're going to talk about the social advisor today and really how to empower agents with social media. First, we're going to cover what is social media, but more important, why should you care? Then we're going to do a network overview, high level, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and look at examples from your peers on what's working today. Then we're going to talk about the age of content marketing. Content is king. That can never be more true than right now. And then we're going to talk about where to start. You're going to hear a lot of great examples and stories, but then we're going to give you a solid roadmap on where to get started with all of this. And then we're going to focus on what's next. What is the next big thing when it comes to social media? You can, if you're following along this presentation, if you're on Twitter, feel free to tweet to me. You can see my Twitter handle at the bottom. And I encourage you to connect with me on LinkedIn as well and all of the social networks. I'm really out there practicing what I'm teaching others to do. So feel free to connect, and look forward to sharing these and hearing your feedback. All right, so first, what is social media? You hear Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, all the social networks being thrown around, but really at its core, social media is a conversation. It is a dialogue, and it is fundamentally changing the way we communicate. And with this, you could take a look at email. Email only became mainstream among small businesses in the mid to late 90s. Let's think about this. That's barely 20 years ago. Where would your business be today if you hadn't adapted to email? Communication is shifting again, and it's happening twice as fast. Social media accounts now eclipse email accounts. It's time to get on board with these new technologies before your competitors start taking your market share. So let's look kind of high level on what exactly is social media. Again, we hear these networks thrown around, but as I mentioned, it's at its core, it is a conversation. It's about building trust and relationships, which is really the very foundation of this industry. So social media is a level playing field. With social media, you can be as big or as small as you want to be. The one-man advisor can now compete with the 1,000-man firm down the street. You're building up a strong online presence, thought leadership, and really presenting yourself as an expert in the field. So with social media, you can be as big or as small as you want to be. Social media is communication without borders. The bottom line is conversations are happening. Whether you're out there and talking with them or not, these conversations are happening. And with social media, you can communicate with anybody. You can communicate with politicians. You can communicate with celebrities. You can communicate with the media. This is a phenomenal opportunity that we're really seeing emerge, this concept of social PR. So being able to communicate directly with different media outlets. There's an example of one advisor that regularly wrote about best practices for retirement planning, and he was a fan of a journalist in the Wall Street Journal that wrote on the topic. And he would retweet his articles on Twitter, so rebroadcast those articles to his network. He would like the content, but his main goal was really to get on this guy's radar. And then when he was in New York, he reached out to this Wall Street Journal reporter and said, "Hey, I've been a big fan of your content and your articles. I'd love to meet for coffee. I have some interesting thoughts on this particular investment strategy." And because he got to know the guy through Twitter, the man accepted the meeting, and they hit it off. And sure enough, this advisor is now used regularly as a subject matter expert in this reporter's content. And when he came out with a new book, this reporter even did a review on his book in the Wall Street Journal. This is literally tens of thousands of dollars of PR. And it all started with a tweet. But what I want you to take away from this, though, is it wasn't just Twitter, it wasn't just social media and the tweet that got him all this PR. He used social media to build his reputation, to earn the right for a conversation, for a face-to-face meeting. And that's what you have to think about with your clients. You want to use social media to turn strangers into consumers of your content and earn the right for that meeting or that face-to-face appointment. So social media is communication without borders. Social media is marketing at its finest. I'm a really analytical person, and one of the things I love with online marketing is you can actually see what's working. You're not just putting up a billboard on the side of the highway and guessing how many people look at it as they're flying by in their cars. You can actually see how many people are reading your articles, viewing your social media posts, clicking and taking action, filling out lead forms. It's marketing at its finest. One of the things that I encourage you to set up, if you haven't already, is analytics for your website. This is a free tool, Google Analytics, but get this set up and you can see what are the traffic sources, how are people finding your website. And here, this is an advisor, he gets nearly 4,000 visits a month, and about a third of them are a direct result of social media. Now, if you were to look at Google pay-per-click ads or things like that, it could cost you anywhere from $10, even $15 per click sometimes on these keywords. This is literally thousands of dollars of free traffic as a direct result of social media, with LinkedIn being the #1 traffic driver. So it's really important that you track and measure the success and the KPIs. Social media is word of mouth on steroids. Now, the bottom line is people are out there. They're talking about you and your business, whether you're online or not. I remember when I was in college, I waited tables, and there was a little sign that hung above the door that said, a happy customer tells 5 people, a dissatisfied customer tells 20. Well, with the connectivity of social media, you can multiply that by 1,000. The bottom line is people are out there and they're talking. So it's time to get on board with these new technologies before your competitors start taking your market share. If they're not listening to you, who are they listening to? The Susie Ormans of the world? So with that, let's kind of look at a high-level network overview. So this was a fun graphic I created that kind of just illustrates the different social networks. And oftentimes they get lumped together, social media and one big lump. But the reality is each network really has its own voice, audience, and purpose. So advisors will often say, where do I get started? Which network should I be on? And the answer is it's not going to be the same for everyone. You need to go where your audience is, and you need to go where you're most comfortable. So today I'm going to cover the top 3, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And we're going to look at how advisors are utilizing these networks to grow their business. First, LinkedIn. LinkedIn, I kind of think of this like the trade show when it comes to social media. You know, people are here for business networking purposes, but I often have advisors come to me and they're like, you know, I have a LinkedIn profile, but it's just not working for me, Amy. And I ask, I'm like, well, are you doing anything? Are you posting? Are you sharing? Because if not, it's like going to a trade show and just setting up a booth and not talking to anybody. You have to get out there, ask and answer questions, engage in conversations, post in groups. It is social networking. We're here to be social, to network. Now, with that same analogy, you want to think of your booth at this event as your profile. You don't just want to have the little white tablecloth over in the corner with the name tag. You want to have the interactive media displays, embed some video on your LinkedIn profile summary. You want to have the colorful banners, put a cover photo on your LinkedIn. You want to have the nice brochures. Make sure your profile tells your story. This is your chance to make a first impression. So make it a good one. And what's the ROI of LinkedIn? I've heard numerous success stories of advisors gaining clients as a direct result of LinkedIn. In fact, LinkedIn itself has done some studies on our particular industry. 3 out of 5 advisors have gained a new client, and nearly a third of those brought in over 5 million or more in new assets under management. One advisor I know, he was able to double his referrals simply by connecting to his clients. And then every time his clients came in, he went and he looked at their profile on LinkedIn, and he identified, you can look at second-degree connections. So he looked for some second-degree connections that he wanted an introduction to. So he would, after their meeting, he'd say, hey, Mr. Client, know we're connected on LinkedIn, and I saw that you're also connected to John Smith and Mary Moore. I think I might be able to help them because of XYZ. Would you be willing to make an introduction? Sure enough, half the time, the clients picked up the phone right there in the office and made a phone call. So there's a really great opportunity there. And if you're not comfortable doing that with your clients, think about any of the Chamber of Commerces you belong to. Do you sit on any boards of directors for local companies or charities? Look, even your neighbors. Oftentimes, people want to help you, but they don't know who you're looking to connect with. Make it easy for them by looking at their LinkedIn profile and asking for specific introductions. Twitter. Now, this is the cocktail party when it comes to social media. This is the network where I get the most feedback from people. How is this network where Kim Kardashian is out there like trying to break the internet? How is this going to help me in my business? Well, you can think of Twitter like a cocktail party. A lot of conversations are happening, meeting people for the first time. Now, if you go to a cocktail party, who are the people you remember? You remember the people that listened to you. You remember the people that had interesting stories or helpful information. No one wants to follow up with the guy that walked around all night talking about how great he is. We've all met that person. Don't be that person online. So on Twitter, you really want to listen first and talk second. Add value to conversations. This is one of the rare social networks where it's welcome to jump into a stranger's conversation. Just add value, not promote yourself. So Twitter can be a really valuable tool for doing research, staying up on top of what's happening right now, and really sharing interesting, valuable information for your audience. Now, you might feel like that little bird on the right sometimes. I still have some advisors that are saying, well, what's this tweeter business? I don't think I understand. What's these funny little @ signs and pound symbols? I don't get it. And that's okay. Like I said, social media is a conversation. And the best place to start is to start with listening. And listening on social media equates to following. So just set up an account. My challenge for you is all of those that don't have a Twitter account, set up an account. You don't even have to use your photo or your real name. Just set up an account and start following people. So follow some of the industry associations, follow some competitors, follow some peers, follow things you're interested in. Follow the Olympics. There's so many conversations going on right now. Follow some of the political conversations. Follow something you're interested in. And when you're comfortable, then you can join in and start posting. Change your profile name to your real name and use it for business. But maybe you just want to listen, and that's how you're going to use social media, is to gather information, to stay on top of news. So there's a lot you can do, but it all starts with listening first and talking second. Facebook. Now, this is kind of the pub when it comes to social media. It's a little more personal. This is where you really want to get connected with your clients. It's a very visual platform. So sharing photos, sharing videos. If you've moved into a new office, take a picture. If Sarah at the front desk has been pregnant for the last 8 months, and you want to share photos of her new baby online, this is a place to do that. Oftentimes, I know advisors will send that out via email. But talk about this. This is a great place to really build a community. So you want to interact and comment and really build a community here on Facebook. Now, a lot of people see the opportunity or looking to market to baby boomers and seniors. And I can tell you, Facebook is the spot to do that right now. In fact, the fastest growing segment on Facebook is the 55 to 65-year-old female. My mom is the perfect example of this. I remember she got on Facebook probably about 5 years ago, but she was a little reluctant. But now she loves Facebook, and she's not just following her kids. She's connected to her hairdresser, Carla. She's following brands, and the brands are following her back, promoting ads to her. But this is a really great place to market the baby boomers. In fact, so much so, I shared a video about this on my Facebook channel a while back when I was still at Financial Social Media, and I had an advisor call me up. She was in the Villages in Florida, and she said, Amy, I do a lot of events for my clients, the client appreciation events. We might take them golfing, we might take them to the opera, to a baseball game. What if you came down to Florida and we did an event on social media? So this was really thinking outside the box. She brought her clients together. We had 35 clients come and 25 clients come, and she brought 35 friends, a total of 60 people. We did a workshop in the morning and a workshop in the afternoon, and she spent $0 on direct mail to get them there. She spent $0 on food or anything like that. This was an educational workshop. We had iPads on the tables. We talked about Pinterest, and we looked up knitting patterns on Pinterest. We did a live Skype call. It's a really fun, interactive workshop. And they had a blast. Look at their faces. These look like your clients? They had a great time. But the best part for the advisor is at the end of this, she stood up and said, all the new faces in the room, this is who we are and what we do, and everyone you came with is a client, and we're a family. If you want to learn more, you can set an appointment with Sarah at the door. Otherwise, we're doing a seminar next week on Social Security timing if you'd like to sign up. And as a direct result of this event, she was able to write $800,000 in annuity premium within the next 3 months. Incredible, $800,000 in annuity premium as a direct result of this event. So this is just a great way to really think outside the box. But if you're going to host something on social media, you have to be leading by example. So make sure that you yourself are getting out there and are on social. So we are in the age of content marketing, and that's what this was. This was content. She held a workshop that was a really strong content. The bottom line is millions of people are out there putting content together every day. With social media, you become the media. You don't want to pay $5,000 for a radio show? Start your own radio show. Start doing podcasts. Don't want to hire a PR person to help you get TV exposure? Start doing your own videos and TV. Start a YouTube channel. There's so much opportunity out there. In your smartphone, you have the ability to broadcast messages to millions. So when you're sharing these messages, it's important to think about the 4 E's of content marketing. Educate, empower, engage, and entertain. Everything you do should be doing one, if not all 4 of these things. Educate, empower, engage, and entertain. This is an example. This is Jeff Cutter here, and he moved his offices. And again, he shares a visual picture. Hey, I'm in my new office. You know, if you're interested, come check it out. And sure enough, this guy responds, pops up. Hey, what days are you out there? I've got everything ready in my stack and file box. Eager to be there. Simply staying top of mind when a Money in Motion event occurs. So just simply posting and connecting can really help. This is Michelle Matson. This is one of my favorites. She does Dressed to Invest with Michelle Matson. And every Friday, she does Fab You Shoe Friday. And shoes have nothing to do with financial services, but let's face it, women love shoes. So she's constantly staying top of mind, staying relevant. She gets a lot of engagement, comments, and anytime someone comments on this, it actually shows up in their profile too that they've commented and engaged. So all of their friends see. It's really just a great way to spread the word. This is a fun one. This is Bill Cummings, and he's at an event and he met Ben Stein. So rather than just simply, he posted a photo here on Facebook, and again, look at the engagement and having fun. Like I said, you need to entertain. So here he is. He stopped by our financial social media booth and said, like us on Facebook, and kind of put a silly hat and glasses on. But this is just a good way to be human. It's a big part of this. We're in this world of robo-advisors are marching in. We need to remain human and share our values and our personality. So really just a good example here. And I'm going to wrap up with this one. I love this. This was a woman, Cheryl Brown. This is me in the red dress. I had short, dark hair back then. So I had in the red dress, and I posted this picture from an event. And sure enough, this woman followed up and said, I feel like you're my friends after reading your writings all this time. This is what it's about. This is a person that I had never met, so a stranger. And you have the opportunity to turn these strangers into warm prospects and ultimately clients. And now I consider Cheryl a friend. And it's amazing that the power of social media and how you can really transform these relationships. So where do you get started with all of this? Told you a bunch of stories, gave you some ideas, but where do you get started with all of this? Well, first you need to identify your target audience. Who are you trying to reach? Often at times I talk to advisors and they're like, well, yeah, we're looking to reach anyone in or nearing retirement with a couple hundred thousand in investable assets. I'm like, great, you and everybody else. What do those people have in common? What 20% of your audience is producing 80% of your revenue? And really focusing on that. Are they women? Like Michelle Matson focuses on women. Are they professors? Are they Verizon executives? Think of a real niche audience and really narrow down on that. I know one advisor, he had a really unfortunate accident in his family with his son's suffered a ski accident and became paralyzed, which was terrible. But what it did is it opened his eye to this world of spinal cord injury victims and their families. And he saw a need for financial advice. Oftentimes they come into large settlements of money, they don't know what to do. So he really dedicated his practice to helping that unique market. So again, kind of think outside the box. What could be your unique market? Because the reality is with technology, you can think beyond those people that are within, a 10, 20, even 30-mile radius, driving radius. That doesn't matter anymore. Really, you want to think broader. Set goals. How do you know you've arrived if you don't know where you're going? So you want to make sure you set goals for your social media. So what are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to get some of that social PR I mentioned earlier? Are you looking to increase referrals? Are you looking to, have customer support? Stay top of mind with clients. The number one reason clients leave an advisor is lack of communication. Building relationships with the spouses, the women are really important. 8 out of 10 women will leave their financial advisor after their husband passes away. So really building relationships, but understanding what are those goals, and then put key performance indicators in place so you can really track and measure the success there. Next, get out there and connect. Connect. So this is where there's really an opportunity to build your own audience. When you run an ad in a newspaper or you run an ad on TV, the radio, you're renting somebody else's list. You're paying a one-time fee for access to their audience. But with social media, you can build your own list. You can build your own audience. And it's going to take a little bit longer, but it will pay dividends in the long run. So really great opportunity there to really own and build your own list. And once you're getting connected, you need to share content. Content is king, but we need to stop thinking about content as an e-newsletter or this is social media. That's simply how we're distributing the content. We need to start thinking of content as assets. As Claire mentioned in the beginning, one of the things that her company does for her, she can help create those content assets. So creating the blog and then distributing it via email, via social media, via paid social media. You can create a webinar with it, create infographics. So start thinking of content like assets. So maybe you create a white paper on Social Security timing, and then you can chop that up into 4 different blog posts, 2 videos, an infographic, 10 social media posts, because that's simply how you're distributing that content. So share, because content is king, as I mentioned before. But distribution is queen, and she's the one that wears the pants. You can have all the great content in the world, but if no one sees it, it's not going to help you. So not only do you need to be creating the content, but you also need to be getting that content out there. And that's where tools like Hootsuite can come in. So Hootsuite helps you distribute that content. We've got this great app called Amplify. This is only available through our larger enterprise clients. So your RIAs or broker dealers, insurance carriers would be able to have this app that can be filled with pre-approved compliant content that you guys can easily share out with a few clicks of a button. We also have a great desktop application that allows you, say you're just even reading an article and you want to share it, you can just push a little button and it'll share it to all of your social networks, or it'll allow you to auto schedule to go live when your content is or when your content is most likely to be read. So Hootsuite's just really a great tool to help you manage this. And whether you're an individual advisor or working with a company like Claire's where she can utilize Hootsuite to manage your content for you, it's the technology that allows you to do this in a streamlined and compliant way. So where does all this great content live? Your website. Your website is the hub of your online media presence. And it is so important to have a strong website I'm going to walk you through. This is one of my absolute favorite websites out there. This is Good Financial Sense by Jeff Rose. You might have seen Jeff, as he's often highlighted as one of the top advisors utilizing social in a lot of different industry publications. And all in all, Jeff is just a great guy. So Jeff is a great guy, and he's doing really cool stuff ahead of the curve when it comes to this. And one of the key things with your website is you need to have a blog. So the blog is the heart of your website, pumping it full of fresh and relevant content. So this is Jeff's blog. So what you want to do then is share that blog. As Claire mentioned in the beginning, you send it out via email, send it out via social media, send all that good traffic back to your blog. Now, one of the biggest mistakes people make, though, is once they get on here, they don't have calls to action. And by calls to action, look over there on that right-hand sidebar. This is what Jeff is doing right. Listen to the podcast. Tools that dominate your money. Ask Jeff a question. They're asking them to take an action because you've got them here, but then you need to get their information. So you need to have that call to action. And with that call to action, then it takes them to a landing page. So it's an example of one of Jeff's landing pages. It's time to make your financial life awesome. Sign up below and get the following. And there you go, you got a lead. Enter your email address and you can build wealth now. So it's not just the email or the social or the website. It's all of these things working together. Doing one of them on their own is like trying to balance on a one-legged stool. You really need all of them working together to see success. Now, when you get it right, that's when we can really see the value of a tweet. And I'll walk you through this. So let's say we get 1,000 people to this website or to this landing page. They make it through the blog or they find this landing page through social advertising. But let's say you get 1,000 people here. And maybe 20% of them enter their email address. That's 200 leads. And then we want to take them through some marketing automation. So once they sign up for, to download whatever that first piece is, that's where you get their email address and you get them in your email system. So email automation. They can go down different paths, whether they open it or they don't open it. These are tools like MailChimp, Constant Contact, Infusionsoft, Salesforce. All of these have an email component. And let's say of those 200 people that end up in your email system, let's say 10% of them decide to schedule an appointment. That's 20 appointments. Now, if half of them close, that's 10 new clients. So here's how you can really see the math. 1,000 people go to the landing page, you get 200 in the funnel, 20 appointments, and 10 clients. So then ask yourself the question, what are those 10 clients worth to you? How much did it cost to drive the 1,000 people to the landing page? And when you put these together, this is when you can really start to see success. But you've got to have all these pieces connected. But once it's working, that's when it's time to add fuel to the fire. And the fuel to this fire is social advertising. This is what's next for advisors. Social advertising, a tremendous opportunity around this to really accelerate your efforts when it comes to your online and digital marketing. So a couple types of social advertising. Let's look at boosting Facebook posts. If you have a Facebook page, you've probably been given this option. I almost say that it's not worth to do Facebook. It's not worth the time it takes to put the posts on Facebook anymore unless you're willing to spend a little money. Because the way the algorithm has continued to change, especially most recently with like fake news and filtering that out, it's really hard. The organic content, which is non-paid content, is just not getting visibility to your audience. So this is an example. This is an advisor's page. And I want you to look at the numbers over here on the right. He has about 2,000 people that like his page, so 2,000 followers, and only 52 people are seeing the content, or 53 people on the next post. But if he spends some money on advertising, that 53 jumps to 1,800. So it's quite a big jump. You might be thinking, yeah, well, how much is he spending? $5. All that is, $5 is the difference between 53 people seeing it and 1,800. And look at those clicks over on the right. Again, the difference between 2 people clicking and 18 people clicking. So like I said, if you're going to do this, it's worth just spending a little bit of money. It doesn't have to be a huge budget. Set aside, $50 a month, but it's worth it to get your posts out there. Now, if you really want to go big, there's an incredible opportunity, and I honestly believe we've got about 2 more years of a window before everyone starts catching on. And this is where we can be nimble in this independent space too. So we can be a little bit more nimble than some of the captive wealth management firms out there and insurance companies. So this is an example of Facebook ad targeting. The incredible thing with Facebook now is basically the number of people that follow your page is totally irrelevant. That doesn't matter anymore. You can reach anybody now at the right time with the right message. So this is an example of an advisor. He was utilizing Hootsuite. I talked about the sharing capabilities of Hootsuite, but there's also the ability to listening. So he set up streams within Hootsuite to listen specifically for employee pension buyouts. So he was listening for employee pension buyouts and saw this notification from NCR that they were buying out 20,000 pensions from their employees. So he set up a landing page like that one we saw from Jeff Rose, and that provided information about, is this the best decision for you? And then he started a series of ads on Facebook. And this is it. You're looking at the actual ad. Did you receive a 2014 lump sum buyout from NCR? Find out if this is the right option for you. So he ran this ad and he targeted it to people over the age of 50 that currently or in the past had worked at NCR that had a net worth over $200,000. Yes, Facebook knows your net worth. They also know your income. They know your zip code. They know if you like dogs. They've got all this information on you. They know where you went to school. And like the more you can tailor the audience, the better click-through you're going to get. As silly as it sounds, if you put an image of a dog in an ad of someone that likes dogs, your click-through is going to go up. So he ran this ad, and you can see the post clicks. Nearly 2,000 people, 1,900 people clicked on this and went to the landing page. Had reached over 60,000 people. Tremendous, tremendous reach here. But the bottom line, what does this do for his business? Well, he received almost 100 phone calls, 35 qualified prospects, and brought in $12 million in new assets under management over the next 6 months. $12 million directly from this NCR ad campaign. How much did he spend on this? $900, a fraction of what he was able to target. Now think about this. The same advisor, after we saw the success off of this, he does a lot of work with Verizon executives. So he ran a campaign on Facebook, 5 things Verizon executives need to know about your retirement plan. Then you can skin this. Maybe you focus with Microsoft executives or Boeing executives. You can do the same thing. So there's a million ways to target. You can target, again, by title, all sorts of things. So it's something to think about. This is what's next, and there's a window before everyone starts catching on. And it becomes saturated like the Google ads have. So take advantage of this now. And this is something that Claire's company can help you do. Social ads was one of the things that she talked about earlier. And I want to end with this quote here from Warren Buffett. In a chronically leaking boat, energy devoted to changing vessels is more productive than energy devoted to patching leaks. The bottom line, what worked 10 years ago, what worked 5 years ago? It doesn't work anymore. You can keep throwing time and money at it, but it's not going to patch the leaks. It's time to change vessels. And that new vessel is technology. And ultimately, the choice is yours, whether you change vessels or go down with the ship. On that note, I'm going to open it up to some questions here. And again, feel free to contact me. My contact information is below. Reach out to me on LinkedIn, Twitter.
Great. Thank you so much, Amy. That was an amazing presentation. I love all of the examples you gave. And I think my favorite comment that you had was that having a LinkedIn profile on its own without actually using it is a lot like going to a trade show and paying the money to get in and not talking to anybody. And that's so true. I see advisors all the time who set up their LinkedIn profile and then don't do anything with it. And so those were so many great analogies. Thank you for your insight. Everybody remember to follow Amy on Twitter. Her information is there. And also feel free to connect with both of us on LinkedIn and ask any questions that way. We're both really active on social media. And if you want to get in touch, you can go to indigomarketingagency.com to learn more about my marketing packages and hootsuite.com to learn more about their tools for financial advisors. And I just want to finish with a couple quick questions for Amy. So tell me a little bit about, how often advisors should be posting on social media. Give us an idea for a novice advisor who's never done this before. How much time do they need to be putting in?
So when it comes to how much content, that's always a good question. And the reality is it's going to vary for your different networks. So on Twitter, it's typically you want to post more frequently, once a day, every other day if you can, even more. LinkedIn, you can get away with once a week. Facebook, a couple times a week. But the reality, like with anything, the more time you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. And you don't want to be posting just for the sake of posting. You want to make sure you're adding value to the community. So I typically look at social media in three tiers. So there's the very base layer of social media. This is like kind of the evergreen content that you can schedule in advance. And this is where tools like Hootsuite can come in because you can just kind of set and forget. So go in there in the beginning of the week, just set up your content and have it run. And then there's like the mid-level of content. This is where you want to like layer in photos and things that are more personal. And you can have someone manage this in your office or hire a company like Indigo Marketing to help manage this. And this is really kind of that next level. And then there's the very top level of social media. And these are things that as an advisor, only you can do. So I mentioned going through the second degree connections of the people of your clients. Only you're going to know who is important that you want to set up in a meeting with. Looking at your clients' profiles before they come in, or strategically searching on LinkedIn. There's certain things that only you can do. And time-wise, like it's really not going to take that much with the right tools and technology in place.
That's great. Yeah, that's a great point. And then two last questions for you, just to get your insight. I'd be interested to hear, what's the biggest mistake or misconception that you see financial advisors make, or the misconception that they have? And finally, if there's one thing that you would encourage advisors who aren't using social media today to do after watching this webinar, what would be your recommendation?
All right, so biggest mistake I see is advisors jumping onto social media and treating it like traditional media. So traditional media is very much a monologue. It's one direction. You're taking out an ad, a billboard, you're really shouting a message in one direction. And social media is a conversation. It's that dialogue. It's listening first, talking second, contributing value to the conversations. So I see as a mistake advisors getting on and just kind of taking these messages and shouting, me, 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 me. And that won't help you be successful in social media. I would say, what was the second question, Claire?
If you could make one recommendation for advisors to get started, what would that be?
It would be start with listening. So sign up for these accounts. And again, you don't have to post anything at first, but start paying attention. Start to understand these social networks. I'm working on a new book right now called The Social CEO. And seeing more and more CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, executives of financial services companies, Lloyd Blankfein with Goldman Sachs, Tim Hockey with TD Ameritrade, a lot of very prominent and powerful people see the value of social media. They're on Twitter, but I can tell you both, because I've talked to both of those two for my book, and they had social media accounts for a while. They were on Twitter for about 3 or 4 years before they ever said a single word. And they were listening and they were understanding how to use the platform. And then they saw the power and its potential. And then they started using it as a platform to have a voice. So that would be my advice, is where to get started is to start by listening.
That is great advice. Thank you so much for your time. And everyone, check out the links below. You can download the slides. You can ask a question. You can get in touch with Amy. Check out Hootsuite's tools. You can sign up for my newsletter to see my monthly webinars. And you can get in touch on social media with the both of us. So with that, I'd like to end the webinar presentation. You can ask a question by email in the right-hand chat box. And thank you so much for Amy for your time and for your insight.